Hello everyone, today we'll be looking at Carrier Battles for Guadalcanal. I think that's the full title, although, I mean, this is the Carrier Battles series. I think this is mostly a one-man dev team, so from that perspective, you can be impressed or not, as you wish. But, I mean, I always find these smaller dev teams pretty impressive, that they can get so much work done. Now, if you can't tell already by the window painting going on the left and the right, that we have... this is a mobile port. That's actually a talking point I'll probably repeat a lot. Everything in this game is built for mobile, and the port to PC is just basic functionality. I have to say that I have a basic pessimism. I come in with a bias against mobile ports, so I've been jaded by so many of them done wrong or done in an annoying way. I think that this is unfortunately not necessarily the best mobile port. There are some issues. Let me just jump into Naval Search real fast. Well, I played both the tutorials, and I've actually played the full Battle of Midway, it took me a little over 2 hours to complete this. So Steam, right before recording this, Steam is reporting that I have 5.5 hours in this game. So I have given this a pretty fair shake. I've really fought through some of my where some of my basic urges were to stop playing, actually. But I really want to introduce this because, first of all, I want to say thank you to Agrippa for helping out with Avalon's press. This game is done by Avalon Digital, and I think the CEO is Philippe, the one from Europa Universalis. So he's very well known, obviously, in the wargaming industry. And here is the map. And the Battle of Coral Sea, I think, is probably better than the Battle of Midway. I probably just picked the Battle of Midway because it's, the most famous Pacific battle. And the map was much, much, much smaller. If I had picked the Battle of Coral Sea, it might have been a real blast. I probably should have done that. But I didn't. So the Battle of Midway ended up being kind of a bummer for me. So let's just quickly go through this. I already know the objectives for this. I want to show the scouting, and then I want to show the actual battle, which is what the two tutorials are about. So this will give us a chance to look at those. For scouting, we're just going to pull our aircraft out of the hangar, dump him into search, change his search pattern. Now we're starting in Port Moresby. We're looking for aircraft, so we're going to give it a 120-degree arc, starting from the northwest, sweeping over to the east. I don't think we need to even go that far. We can probably go, let's say 22 hexes. That should be enough. Our aircraft is rated for 36 hexes, so I think, is that out and back? In which case we can only set this to 18. But I think that even if you set it beyond what they can go to, they will automatically just return when they can no longer search any further. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but there was a aircraft carrier icon over here. So we also have this aircraft carrier with some of the Dauntlesses. Well, now there was a difference between the Japanese and American scout strategies. Japanese mainly relied on their float planes, but the carriers, U.S. carriers, had a separate squadron that was meant for scouting. Actually, I don't want all of them to go, so I'm just going to pick half to go. And I don't want to... okay, let's send half in a 20 hex, whatever, 360. Basically the crazy broad. And then let's do another one, which is going to look, let's say, northwest, 120. Or we can say 180 from the west, and this one will go maybe 8 hexes. So, something like that. We'll get 2 on each, and then we'll see. The mission is just to scout all the airplanes that we see. We'll move up this way as well, and we'll end the turn. Now, if you right-click, you can actually go a full hour at a time, which is probably going to be useful for us because this is a pretty simple mission. We're just waiting for our scout planes to go, and there they go. So it is pretty cool the way you have the scouts minute by minute. It's just pressing with the end turn. I mean, literally, you can imagine how the game is very much meant for you to be pressing this with your finger. It's a big button. Now, the dragging of the map, WASD does work, but there's the dragging of the map, which is probably how it's done on mobile. I have had some issues, a lot of issues actually, getting people to drag in and out of the hangar, to the deck, the runway, and all this. The mouse dragging seems to actually work less well, somehow, than your finger might. Or so I imagine, unless there's problems with this on the tablet version. I haven't played the tablet version, to be fair. So, anyway, looks like we spotted, position was spotted. We can go down to the chat window here and see, okay, this was, Coast Watchers have found this target. Fair enough. One means that we have one person, we're allowed to move one task force during this phase, so, you know, I'll move it, yeah, I'll move it this way. And our scout planes do update with our new position. So moving your aircraft carrier also moves the center of your scouting. And we did the 120-degree angle over Port Moresby. So we are now seeing the green line coming in from the land-based scouts, which is good. And that's advancing, the other ones, and we're not seeing it, but you might not be seeing it. I don't know if it's even drawing. It should be drawing that there's two aircraft groups. So we sent two groups of two pairs. One pair is doing full 360, but remember, one pair is doing this more narrower margin. I don't know. Did they both? Yeah, they're both out already. Oh, it's doing a full 180. Never mind. Yeah, so they're doing. I think that this is slightly darker than these hexes. I think, but it might be because I'm expecting to see that. So I don't know. Anyway, we'll keep going. Keep going. I think it's mission accomplished once we've scouted all the. Okay, there's the task force. I think we're just trying to get all the scouting, and then it'll be mission accomplished. So this is the scouting. I think it is pretty cool. You end up scouting a lot of the, you know, just spending this time to scout all the different, whatever it's called, different task forces that the enemy has. It does add this little tension about waiting to see what your scouts are going to report back to you on, and then if this was real, we would. Yeah, so this is one of the issues I've had before. Hitting escape sometimes. No, yeah. So I can't do anything right now. Yeah. So I'll have to, let me just cut the recording real fast and I'll be right back. Okay, I think it's back now. So I think it was just stuck for a little bit there. I think it might have been processing the victory. Okay. Okay, do I have it? No. Okay, sorry. Okay, well, I mean, I guess it's only fair that that happens because that has happened a couple times in my playthrough as well. It only happened once in my entire Battle of Midway, so for 2.5 hours I didn't have any issues. Yeah, so it won't happen all the time, but I don't know what exactly that comes from. Anyway, so let's look at the combat side of things now. Let's play the first battle, which now we're going to be controlling the two Battle of Coral Sea carriers that the United States had, the Yorktown and Lexington, and we'll be up against the 3 Japanese carriers, which is really just 2 Japanese main fleet carriers and then 1 light carrier, I think, or was it 2 light carriers and 1 fleet carrier? I don't remember. So we start this game, now it's the same map, but we start with no scouting. We know exactly where they are, and it's just do or die. So our goal is going to be to launch immediately, really. We want to launch an attack, and you can see down in the bottom left here, 6 is the number of air units which could be operated per phase in optimal conditions. Storms, landing units, units on deck, and damaged elevators will decrease this number. So what I'm going to do is just add. So let's add all 9 of our. Oh yeah, I did. All 9 of our dive bombers to go attack this. There we go. I like to say warn me when my planes are landing. I don't even know if it gives me a warning, but now we're at 60 minutes for this strike. Let's add 3 more torpedo bombers. That went up to 80. And I think that's going to be my priority. And then I'm going to try to get my cap up as soon as I can after that as well. We'll do the same thing on the Yorktown. Basically just put everybody into the attack. and focus that as the priority. That's going to the same attack strike force. And then eventually, as soon as we can, which will be in 80 to 100 minutes, we'll get the rest of the fighters up on cap. So I'm prioritizing the strike rather than prioritizing the cap, which is not typical. So you probably wouldn't do this in real life, but yeah, I have my reasons for doing that, basically. All right, so let's move west, or east, the opposite of west. And my hope is that I might evade death for a little bit. And we're going to advance 20 minutes at a time. Oh, they advanced towards me. Wow, that's going to be rough. My only hope is that we can get off our attack before they can get off theirs. How are we doing here? 20 minutes, 20 to 40 minutes left, because we know that they've spotted us. Okay, move. All right, our group has actually taken off. So I'm going to try to move into the storm. I don't know what effect this has, but I'm just hoping that being in the storm will make it more difficult for them to spot and actually strike us. And my my strike force is already heading towards the enemy carriers. By the way, I've never, I've had a tactical victory in this mission, but I've never had a result where I sink 2 or 3 or, like 2 or more of the enemy carriers without losing both of mine. So just let you know, every time I've lost all my carriers. If we manage to do it, this will be the miracle run. And that's probably another complaint I'm going to want to share about this game. This is not a complaint that would be very difficult to fix. This is just, in my opinion, the balance of the combat is not quite right. To give you an idea, when I was playing in Midway, I was playing as the Japanese. And the Zero, obviously a very effective fighter early in the game. I think Midway was actually the first time when... Was the Thatch Weave developed before Midway? I think it was, right? So the Thatch Weave was the first... Midway was the first time when the Thatch Weave was used, I think. And it was effectively used, especially effectively because the Japanese didn't even know about it yet. So it was even more effective. Now... what was I trying to say? Oh yeah, so the Zero basically was a very good fighter. And especially if you were going up against bombers, especially if you were going up against Devastators, let's be honest, the Devastator was like easy pickings for a Zero. Now, I came up with a situation, which, let me just advance. Okay, we found them. There they are. We're going to just stick in this storm, and there's our attack. It's inbound. And this is what I'm referring to here. This says 4. If it's a little blurry, again, this mobile port, so the text and all that might have been intended for different, viewing. This is 4, and we are at 18 and 6. So I didn't send any escorts because I'm trying to put as much of a cap over my carriers as possible. I guess I was already predicting that we would actually be able to sink them first. Now, I came in, so in the Japanese Midway battle it was actually a very fun, very closely fought thing. The map is very small compared to the Battle of Coral Sea that we're looking at here. I'm not sure if I already mentioned that. It was only maybe 20 or 30 hexes tall, whereas I felt like the Coral Sea one was maybe 50, maybe even double at 60. And they're probably about equal width. So the Midway one is just start with your forces on the left if you're the Japanese and push them over to the east, to the right, where Midway is, and also the American carriers. So anyways, the story I wanted to say. I had 8, I think it was 8 zeros. I was, by the way, streaming this in my Discord for a couple people. And I had 8 zeros as cap, and 3 SBD Devastators came. It's SBD, right? No, SBD is Dauntless. SBF? Gosh, I don't remember the abbreviation. But the torpedo ST, no, I don't know it. Whatever the Devastator's abbreviation is, which for some reason is escaping me at the moment. TBD, there it is, Torpedo Bomber Devastator. I don't know what the D stands for, but in my head it stands for Devastator, and the TBF is the Avenger, right? So, or was it the TBA? Oh my gosh. Anyway, never do these things on camera, you'll always be wrong. So 3 of these Devastators came in, and against 8 of my zeros, I was expecting wholesale slaughter. If you remember Midway, this is actually what happened. The Devastator, maybe a little bit unfairly, was given a bad name for Midway because all of them were, like, I think all but like 2 were shot down or something like that. And what happened was the zero cover at high altitude also joined in the low cover attack on the Devastators at low altitude. So you had, so it's overcast. Maybe that does play a role. So you did have this unfair thing where, like, okay, of course the Dauntlesses weren't attacked because all the zeros that were up there went after the Devastators. But nonetheless, Devastators, it's a slow aircraft. It's a pretty sturdy aircraft, but it's very slow, and that makes it very vulnerable to fighters, especially without escorts, which is what in my battle was going on. Nonetheless, although it was 8-3, and although so I only managed to, I think I destroyed, or maybe it was I just damaged 1, and this is the result that we're going to see. So yeah, they have 4 zeros that come in against. By the way, this is not actually 4 individual ones. I think every unit is supposed to represent 4 planes itself. So let's say it's 16 zeros against something like 100 incoming Allied planes. They weren't able to do anything. And maybe that makes sense if there's a strength in numbers, if they keep in their compact formation. To me, it doesn't. If they went after the TBDs, I think that they would still be shooting them down. But that's fine. Now, in my scenario, I had 8-3, and we shot down 1. And the 2 remaining didn't abort like you'd expect, didn't just launch their torpedoes. The Mark 14, the air-launched terrible torpedo but the 2 actually managed to sink my damn carrier. I don't know, that could have been an outlier. I might have just gotten very, very unlucky, but it happened, and the people on the stream were also just very confused by this. We were all laughing, because, yeah, it doesn't matter, it's a game, right? But it was a very, very unusual result. Now this, I think, a little more fitting. We have 2 hits on the carriers, and okay, maybe not fitting. What's going on here? We hit one with 2 torpedoes and 3 bombs. It's listing due to flooding. I think that one is going to sink. We have a little bit of fog of war here, which says here the accurate damage inflicted to enemy ships is revealed at the end of the game. So we don't know quite yet, but I'm actually surprised that this one was hit by 4 bombs and is still completely okay. The hit points didn't seem to drop. I may have once again just gotten very lucky, but hey, if you send 100, if you actually get 16, I mean this is after leaving. I don't remember. We didn't lose any in the initial attacks. We had one dive bomber destroyed afterwards, probably by like the small AA, and 2 torpedo bombers destroyed, and 1 of the dive bombers aborted. But we had 20. So we had exactly 80 aircraft that not just made an attack, but made an attack and survived. So maybe even a few more that made the attack, right? And we managed to land 4 bomb hits on one and 3 bomb hits on the other. Okay, well that's fine. Let's just live with that. And now there's the big news, right? That they're also coming in. So we're still, I think, under the rain. At least it's showing rain on this hex to me. I don't know how to view the weather. I thought there was right click. There, overcast. Yeah, I don't know how to view it in the other hexes. Anyway, we're here and we're hoping that our cap is going to hold up. This is a big wave incoming. Okay, maybe it's big wave incoming next turn. We have all our cap up, everyone we can, which is, it looks like 9. So that's a decent sized cap. Here we go. Okay, it's a decent sized cap of 9, just as we hoped, but they come in with 3 escorts, and then it's basically a comparable amount of planes. We have, looks like 10 Vals and 7 Nates, escorted by 3 Zeros, up against our Wildcats. I think it's a pretty fair result, the one that just happened, where we didn't necessarily sink both carriers. It seems okay. Yeah. I don't know. I want to walk back what I was saying. And here they come. Okay, it looks like they ended up attacking one of our cruisers or something. Oh my god, they sank the Yorktown outright. Well, I mean, this is where I get a little upset. 2 torpedoes and 1 bomb, and they just went straight down. It's possible for 2 torpedoes and a bomb to sink the Yorktown, but she was pretty resilient. Anyway, so that's that. We lost one of our carriers. Oh, wait, it's not over yet. That was only half their wave. This one's obviously a lot lighter. This is the one coming from the light carrier. It only has 1 Nate making an approach. And they actually had one aircraft, which is a 4. I mean, it's 4 aircraft making a torpedo run, and they actually hit. Oh lordy, that means none of my aircraft can land, by the way. So this this scenario is over for us because they can't land. Did they land already? If they didn't already, nope, they can't. They're just gonna hang up there and they're gonna die because they can't land. Oh well. So oh my gosh, they're still attacking. Bring it. Okay, so it doesn't look like anything happened there. And we actually destroyed some with, is that enemy planes? Enemy AA. I guess our planes were destroyed by enemy AA. So I guess maybe we should go try to chase down, since we don't have any more functional... Oh! Our carrier has been fixed, it looks like. Has it? No, never mind, it has not. Okay, so we'll wait. We might end up just attacking them. You know, just going into the same hex. Our guys are out of fuel now, so we really need to get those repairs underway. Now, okay, so it's Japanese tactical victory. And you know what? This is going to conclude my look at Carrier Battles 4. So, you know, I think there's a lot of interesting mechanics in this game. I like the idea. This reminds me a lot of like a more detailed, battle-oriented version of War in the Pacific. And that's extremely high praise. I'm not sure Carrier Battles lives up to it completely, for me at least, but it might for you. So if you can get beyond the mobile port, and if you're willing to be a little bit patient with some of the game mechanics, I think this could be a really interesting game. And I'll show you real fast the Midway map so you get an idea of what I did as Japan, and then I'll just show you the Coral Sea map, and you'll be able to see the difference right away. So this is the Midway map. You can see it's a very small map. Very, very, very small. So like I said, probably like 20 hexes tall, maybe 30 hexes wide, even less wide than I remember. And in my battle, I was controlling the Japanese. I moved my forces east, down here, and then up here. We encountered the American carriers. We launched our attacks. I had a lot of really bad luck like that, where I had a cap of like 8 zeros up against a lot. I mean, my cap was 8 for most of the time. And I just kept having solo bombers coming in and going right by my cap. So we don't have radar-guided patrols, or we can't respond. I'm not sure we were responding to radar-directed escorts or cap. So maybe these guys just literally snuck in, but it's hard. It was hard. It was a painful experience. It left a bad taste in my mouth. So maybe this is partly because I had such a bad experience in my battle of Midway. Coral Sea, I think this would be a much more interesting one to play, especially as the U.S., because you're definitely the underdog. And Midway, I guess you're the underdog as well, but at least you have the island. So here our info would be: intercept the Japanese and prevent them from landing on Guadalcanal and Port Moresby. The battle lasts for 3 days. Good. So we start in the south. Yep, as expected. Very good. So this to me seems a little bit more interesting. The bigger map, one of the things I didn't like about the Midway map, although it's the biggest carrier, the most important Pacific War battle in the Pacific War. It's just impossible not to want to play it, right? So of course I dove into it, but actually, the Coral Sea battle looks like it could be so much more interesting, because the Midway one, you were so constrained. You weren't able to move north or come in from a different angle. Basically, we're just stuck with Yamato's plan. And I can understand the reason for trying to keep things tied to history. That's one approach that people sometimes have in these games. Anyway, this one might be a little more interesting, and I want to just say this because, although I won't be showing this, to be fair to the game, you might have a lot more fun in this scenario than I had in my Midway, so your experience might be better than mine. Okay, well, if you like Carrier Battles, you can pick it up on Steam. I have a link in the video description. Thanks again to Agrippa Maxenius for providing a press key for me. And this is developed by Avalon Digital. I think some of you are familiar with the creator of Europa Universalis, Philippe, I don't know how to say this, but this is the French connection, right? Anyway, if you want to pick up Carrier Battles, you can pick it up on the link through Steam, or if you decide, hey, this is an interesting game, but maybe not for PC, maybe I would like to play this on tablet or on my phone, you can go look for it there. I don't know where it is because I don't play tablet games myself. And otherwise, thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, or at least found it informative. And if you did, maybe press the like button. This will increase the visibility not just of the video, but it'll also increase the invisibility for Carrier Battles itself. And otherwise, I'll catch you later. You can find me on my Discord. There'll also be a link in the video description below, or in the comment section, where I hopefully will be back to reply to anything you have to say. Okay, take care.